At 60 years old, just as the world was starting to understand Charlie Sheen's story of survival with HIV, a new reality is setting in. The bill for a lifetime of pushing every conceivable limit is coming due. Decades of hard living combined with the powerful life-saving medications he depends on have created a looming health crisis that threatens to overshadow everything. This isn't just another headline in a life packed with them. This is a physiological reckoning, a silent internal battle that's forcing Charlie Sheen to confront the ghosts of his past in a way he never has before. A battle where winning has taken on a profoundly different and more desperate meaning. To really get the weight of his current situation, you have to remember the heights from which he fell. Long before the public meltdowns and shocking confessions, there was just Carlos Irwin Estevez, born into Hollywood royalty as the son of acclaimed actor Martin Sheen. Growing up in Malibu, the pressure of a famous family name was as constant as the ocean breeze. It was clear from a young age he wasn't just another celebrity kid. He had a raw, undeniable talent. Adopting the stage name Charlie Sheen, he exploded onto the scene in the 1980s, a decade he didn't just star in. He helped define it with his magnetic screen presence. His early roles weren't just jobs, they were cultural moments. He was the haunted soldier in Oliver Stone's Vietnam epic Platoon, a performance so visceral it felt less like acting and more like a confession. He was the ambitious young broker Bud Fox in Wall Street, going toe-to-toe with Michael Douglas. Then came Major League, where he played the rebellious fireball-throwing pitcher Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, a role that seemed to perfectly mirror his own wild public persona. Sheen wasn't just a movie star. He was the epitome of 80s cool, charming, handsome, and with a talent that seemed to have no ceiling. The 90s and 2000s saw Sheen pivot to television comedy, a move that would make him richer and more famous than anyone could have imagined. After a successful run replacing Michael J. Fox on Spin City, which earned him a Golden Globe, he landed the role that made him a global phenomenon. In 2003, he became Charlie Harper on the CBS sitcom 2 and a Half Men. The character was basically a funhouse mirror version of his own public image, a wealthy, hedonistic bachelor living a life of consequence-free fun in a Malibu beach house. The show was a monster, a ratings giant that made Sheen the highest paid actor on television, at one point pulling in a staggering $1.8 million per episode. For nearly 8 years, he was the king of primetime, beloved by millions. He had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a string of hit movies, and the #1 sitcom in the world. By every metric, he was on top of the world. But behind the scenes, a storm had been brewing in his personal life for decades, and it was about to make landfall in the most public and destructive way imaginable. The golden age was over. The fall wasn't a slow slide. It was a spectacular, chaotic, and deeply public implosion that the world watched in real time. Completely horrified and captivated, the carefully built image of Charlie Harper, the lovable bad boy, was shattered, revealing a man in a full-blown crisis. The tipping point came in early 2011, during the 8th season of 2.5 Men. After years of putting up with his issues, CBS and Warner Brothers finally halted the show so Sheen could go to rehab for the 3rd time in a year. Sheen's reaction wasn't regret, but rage. He didn't just bite the hand that fed him, he tried to tear it off. He launched a media blitz demanding a massive raise and unloading on the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, calling him a stupid little man. The network had no choice. On March 7, 2011, Charlie Sheen was fired. Instead of backing down, he spiraled into one of the strangest chapters in celebrity history. This was the era of winning, tiger blood, and Adonis DNA. He gave a series of manic, rambling interviews, his eyes wide, spewing bizarre proclamations. He wasn't an addict. He was a warlock with an F-18 brain. He claimed to live with 2 goddesses and declared that defeat was not an option. The public couldn't look away. He became a walking meme, his catchphrases trending globally. He even launched a live tour called My Violent Torpedo of Truth, Defeat is Not an Option, which was met with both cheers and angry heckles from confused audiences. It was a tragic spectacle. His co-star, John Cryer, later reflected on the madness, stating, Charlie was like the highest-paid actor in television, yet he blew it up. Underneath all the bizarre behavior, a lifetime of addiction was boiling over. His struggles were well documented, with his first rehab stint way back in 1990 and a near-fatal overdose in 1998. His personal life was a tabloid fantasy. His marriages to Donna Peel, Denise Richards, and Brooke Muller all ended in bitter, public divorces filled with allegations of threats, domestic violence, and chaos. At one point in 2011, police removed his twin sons from his home after their mother, Brooke Muller, filed a restraining order. Looking back, Sheen himself admits how serious it was. In a trailer for an upcoming 2025 documentary, he confessed, "I lit the fuse, and my life turns into everything it wasn't supposed to be." The Violent Torpedo of Truth tour was really a desperate cry for help from a man whose life was out of control. He was alienating everyone, destroying his career, and as the world would soon find out, hiding a secret that was fueling the chaos and pushing him right to the edge. After the winning phase of 2011 faded, Charlie Sheen mostly disappeared. His follow-up sitcom, Anger Management, came and went without much fanfare. The work dried up. For a few years, there was a sense that we hadn't gotten the full story. Then, on November 17, 2015, the other shoe dropped. In a somber interview, on NBC's Today Show, Sheen sat across from Matt Lauer and spoke the 3 hard letters that would change his story forever. "I'm here to admit that I am in fact HIV positive," he said. The bravado of the warlock was gone, replaced by a raw vulnerability. He explained he'd been diagnosed about 4 years earlier, right around the time his public meltdown began. The ocean of stress he was under suddenly had a terrifying new context. He admitted that the rants and the desperate need to project an image of winning were largely his way of coping with the devastating news. He described the years after his diagnosis as a living hell, claiming he'd paid over $10 million to people who were blackmailing him and threatening to expose his status. He said he finally came forward to stop the shakedowns and take control of his own story. The reaction was immediate. There was support, but also a wave of fear and judgment. The announcement also had a surprising public health impact, which researchers later called the Charlie Sheen effect. In the weeks after he went public, Google searches for HIV-related terms skyrocketed, and sales of at-home HIV test kits jumped 95%. His journey with the illness wasn't a straight line. He started on antiretroviral therapy, the drug cocktail that suppresses the virus. But in a move that doctors slammed, he briefly stopped his medication to try an alternative treatment in Mexico. He later admitted on the Dr. Oz show that it was a huge mistake. His viral load, which had been undetectable, had shot back up to dangerous levels. It was a harsh lesson, and he immediately went back on his proven medication. Since then, he has stuck to his treatment. The drugs have worked, keeping the virus suppressed. But these powerful medications aren't without a price. Over many years, they can take a toll on the body's organs. For a man whose body had already been through decades of abuse, the very treatment that was saving his life was also setting the stage for his next great battle. For nearly a decade after his HIV announcement, Charlie Sheen seemed to find some peace. He got sober in late 2017, a decision sparked by a moment when he was too drunk to drive his daughter to an appointment. He settled into a quiet life focused on being a single dad, raising his twin teenage sons, Bob and Max. He cautiously stepped back into the public eye, even patching things up with Chuck Lorre for a guest role on Lorre's new show, Bookie. It seemed like a redemption story was finally taking shape. He was managing his health, rebuilding his family, and slowly re-entering the industry that had kicked him out. But a life lived, like Sheen's, always has a bill to pay. At 60, he is now facing a new internal war. This isn't a battle against a single virus, but against the cumulative damage of his entire life story. The long-term side effects of the powerful HIV medications he needs, coupled with the undeniable toll of past substance abuse, have put his body's systems under immense strain. Specifically, the liver is a major concern. It's an organ notoriously damaged by alcohol, and it's also responsible for processing the potent drugs that keep him healthy. Even back in 2016, Sheen himself acknowledged that his early HIV medication had hideous side effects, including the risk of liver damage. While he later switched to newer treatments, the scars from his past lifestyle and the years of necessary, life-saving drugs remain. This new reality is profoundly different from his HIV battle. That was a fight against a virus and public shame. This new war is entirely internal, a fight against the legacy of his own choices written directly onto his body. There's a cruel irony here. The very medications that allow him to live a long life with HIV are also known to contribute to other health complications like fatty liver disease. It's a problem born from the solution. This isn't a war he can fight with catchphrases. It's a quiet, cellular battle that demands a level of discipline the younger Charlie Sheen would have laughed at. It's a harsh reminder that even with sobriety, the past is never really gone. For a man who built his image on being invincible, this is the ultimate humbling reality check. This new chapter of his health journey has forced Charlie Sheen into a deeper confrontation with his past than ever before. If the HIV diagnosis was a public reckoning, this is a private one. It's a conversation he has to have with himself long after the cameras are off. This isn't about winning anymore. It's about enduring. With the clarity that years of sobriety have brought, Sheen has started to unpack the wreckage. In promotional materials for his upcoming projects, he speaks with a startling new candor. Gone are the warlocks and tiger blood, replaced by talk of shame. When you got a lot of shame about a lot of stuff, shame is suffocating, he admitted in a recent trailer. This is a different man, one who seems to finally grasp the chaos he created. The biggest part of this confrontation is reconnecting with his family. For years, his relationships with his children and ex-wives were tabloid fodder. Yet in recent years, a fragile peace seems to have taken hold. He now focuses on raising his teenage sons, a role he appears to embrace. He told People magazine, "I have a very consistent lifestyle now. It's all about single dad stuff." Court documents show that while he shares legal custody with their mother, Brooke Muller, Sheen has primary residency of the boys and will gain sole custody if she relapses. His relationship with his ex-wife Denise Richards has also transformed. After years of public fighting, they've found a way to co-parent. Richards has said they can now have a sense of humor about the roller coaster they went through, and that Sheen has been supportive of her and their daughters. This quiet reconciliation is a huge shift. He's also facing the professional consequences. He openly admits he blew up his career. His reunion with Chuck Lorre for the series Bookie was more than just a job, it was symbolic. It was an admission of fault, and a step toward rebuilding a reputation that was once golden and then became toxic. At 60, Sheen is confronting the totality of his life. The health risks he now faces aren't just medical issues. They are a metaphor for the damage done, a physical manifestation of a life lived at full throttle. The story of Charlie Sheen at 60 is no longer a Hollywood spectacle. It's a quiet, sobering human drama. The violent torpedo of truth has run out of fuel. The warlock has been humbled by mortal concerns. What's left is Carlos Estevez, a father, a recovering addict, and a man managing chronic health conditions. The aftermath of his wild life isn't a victory lap, but a slow walk toward a quiet kind of redemption. His reality today is a world away from the life he once led. His days are no longer about parties and goddesses, but about the mundane and vital work of fatherhood and self-preservation. He lives with the daily knowledge that his body is keeping score. The HIV requires a strict medication regimen, and the cumulative damage to his body demands a mindful, healthy lifestyle to prevent further issues. Every day is a negotiation with his past. Public opinion, as always, is split. For some, he'll forever be the poster boy for celebrity excess, a man who wasted his talent and hurt people. For others, his story is one of shocking resilience, a man who stared into the abyss and somehow crawled back, fighting to be a present father and make amends. Charlie Sheen is a man of incredible contradictions, immense talent and an equally immense appetite for self-destruction. His upcoming memoir, The Book of Sheen, and a documentary promised to be his version of the story, told with the clarity of a man who has nothing left to hide. So what does the future hold? Is this new phase the final definitive wake-up call? His cautious return to acting suggests a desire to work again, not as the biggest star on the planet, but as a character actor whose face now tells a story. His legacy will always be complicated. He'll be remembered for Platoon and for Tiger Blood. He'll be remembered as Charlie Harper and as the man who unraveled. He'll be remembered for the Charlie Sheen effect and for the pain he caused. Perhaps his final act won't be about a comeback, but about acceptance. Acceptance of his mistakes, his limitations, and the quiet, disciplined life now required of him. The ultimate win for Charlie Sheen, at 60 years old, may not be another hit show. It may simply be the gift of another day, a day to be a father, a day to be sober, and a day to be at peace. What are your thoughts on Charlie Sheen's journey? Is redemption possible after such a public fall from grace? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more deep dives into the complex lives of Hollywood's most fascinating figures, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.